Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Howdy, y'all. Red.olaughlin here, talking heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Something I rarely do is give personal stories. Today is one of those days. So let me get my slides loaded up here real quick, and we'll get into this thing as quickly as we can. So, shingles, I'm going to tell you about my personal story. I'm still suffering from them. It started in June. We'll get into the details later. The show is seen on Amazon Fire, on Zizzle, on E360 TV, YouTube. All the playlists, all the archives are on YouTube, and live streaming. And we also have follow-on shows, over 50 shows on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Okay. My disclaimers: I've never been in the medical field, pharmaceutical field. I fell in love with chemistry many, many years ago. Got a degree in it. I actually have 5 academic degrees, all in different topics. But I assess at the cellular level in the body what's going on, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. If I treat a cause, I ought to be able to fix a problem. If I treat symptoms, all I'm doing is treating the symptoms. And the real damage can occur when the symptoms hide the damage occurring underneath. And as always, this presentation is for awareness and education. So with that being said, I said last week, each show going on at least through the end of the year, I'm going to focus on the health habits that we talked about for 6 weeks or so prior to the show. Start your health habits, start everything now, so that when January 1st rolls around, you're already doing your New Year's resolutions. But my 3 things that I wanted to do is reduce visceral fat, reduce this turkey neck, and improve my strength and balance. So those are the things. So giving you my first report, my weight basically is 196.2. This is my dashboard. Everything's going to go up or down from this. My body mass index 29.7, body fat 35.6, subcutaneous fat 23.1, visceral fat 12.4. My basal metabolic rate is 1629 kilocalories. My body age, according to the machine I measured everything on, is 81. I'm really 78. Just turned 78 in September. My waist at the largest circumference is 47. At the where I have my belt at, it's 42. My arm bicep is 14. My thigh is 24 inches. My neck 16 and a half. I did one leg stands on about 4 inches or so, 3 or 4 inches of polystyrene packing material from a box. Very uneven. I didn't have a shoe on. Everything was barefoot. And I found that without being able to touch anything, just balancing on one foot, about 10 seconds, might be a second or two more or less, but that was about all I could do. So that's what I'm going to be working on. My neck and exercise, I didn't really do anything this week, so that's still to be determined. But let's get into my personal story now. We have a little bit of time. Varicella zoster virus, VSV. It's a rash and nerve pain. Symptoms generally include fever, fatigue, stomach aches, light sensitivity. Rashes are probably the biggest one. Several years ago, I'm going to say not quite 10 years ago, had a problem. I was out taking care of something, got a lot of sunburn, got this itch rash on my neck, put some coconut oil on it, nothing happened. I was fortunate to be able to get in and see the doctor. He looked at it and he said, looks like a classic case of shingles to me. Boom. Without anything. And then I started thinking, well, each one of the things that I know activates shingles, I had been violating. So, okay. He gave me some pills. Boom. It worked. I was out of it. So I don't know if I got it early. I got the right stuff. Not very much, but boom, it was gone. But the rash usually occurs on one side of the body. Mine's the left side this time. But in generally 2 to 4 weeks, the rash is gone, you're healing, but sometimes there's some leftover stuff. It's called post-traumatic neuralgia. But for me, the rash was extremely painful, lots of itching, but if you just barely touch it, I mean, just run your finger down over the outside without even a fingernail, active burning like nobody's business. And even the areas that weren't rash, there may have been 6, 8, 10 inches between my thigh and my buttocks where the other rash was at in my lower back. I would get some really severe itching in those areas. So, and what are the typical risks for if you've had chickenpox? You definitely have that virus dormant in your body. As you get older, lots of things happen. It opens up the door for that, particularly if you have immune issues. Given that being said, let's see where we go. In and of itself, the VSV is not contagious. I can't get it from somebody else. But if I have active pussy rash, then I can transmit chickenpox to other people. So when I was actively contagious, I made sure that I was covered up, and that was painful. So, but I really and truly, I spent most of my time at home. If I had to be out, absolutely had to be out, I tried to isolate myself as best as I could, especially with a great grandkid that I wanted to see. I don't want to give him chickenpox when he's not even a year old. So that was just out of the question. We just didn't visit anyone. This post-herpetic neuralgia, PHN, your nerves for practical purposes are fried. And literally, there's nothing you can do about it. The virus gets there, it activates those nerve endings, and they absolutely go wild. The vaccine my wife got, it's about 95% effective. A couple of shots, about 2 months apart or something like that. But what I've seen, and I did a lot of research on this, lots and lots and lots of treatments. Many of them are out there. Most did not help me. That doesn't mean, because we're all different, that your level of shingles might be different than mine. You may respond to something, but I got the thing identified pretty early. I actually got in to see I went to see my dermatologist. I was there when the door opened in the morning, and literally within about 10 minutes, one of the staff came out, took a look at it, and said, "Whoa, that's an impressive case of shingles." And so I got a confirmation on that end. But when I look in my office, I have up here to my left-hand side a whiteboard, and it says Wednesday, June 5th, I have various things that I needed to get done on that day. That was the last day that I was active doing anything until about 2 to 3 weeks ago. So you go from June 5th to literally almost the end of October. I have been gone. I mean, mentally, physically, I have not been in anything. I have an itchy area on my upper left thigh, about the size of my hand. And typically, coconut oil, that's my go-to. Put it on, nothing. Put it on again, nothing, nothing, nothing. A little cortisol, nothing. Cortisone cream, nothing. Nothing worked. Rash really appeared quickly, very itchy. And as I said, just a mere, I mean, I couldn't even just put a piece of, if I took a Kleenex and just ran it across there, it burned. I mean, it burned big time. Not only did it burn, it also had stabbing. It's like needles or a big ice pick. It just drove you up a wall. You had to sit there and just be as absolutely calm as you can be, and then mentally kind of just relax that muscle group or that area. And it just, I was in immense torment for a long time, about 10 weeks. This is 10 June, and you can see the blisters there from this is my thigh. I can't take pictures of the back of me, so I have no idea what my left buttocks or my lower left back look like, but my wife would give me detailed descriptions. But that's what the rash looks like, and it's very common. You see a lot of these things in other deals when you research it. So that's what I look like on the 10th of June, and it started, to me, probably on the 5th of June is when I first started feeling something. Okay, take a look at a couple weeks later, everything is scabbed over. Most of the scabs are gone. I had 1 or 2 minor areas. So I thought, hey, I'm doing really well. And the post-traumatic neuralgia, was kind of subsiding a little bit. I could touch it without it burning, but I couldn't scratch it without it burning. Okay, at least now I can touch it. I could put a clothes on or something. And I spent a lot of time on because I just could not wear anything. So now all of a sudden, couple weeks later, I get a reinfestation, same area that you're looking at that we looked at the last two slides. Now, here I am a month from the first one, and I have it all over again. So I got a double whammy. I had 2 bouts of shingles in about a month. And I'll show you the after that here shortly. I did not take the vaccine. No particular reason why, just one of those things I didn't think I needed at the time. My dermatologist recommended gabapentin, gave me a bunch of it. It's a seizure medicine. They use it in epilepsy. They also use it for post-traumatic neuralgia. It was like M&Ms, didn't do anything. No matter what dose I took, did not work. Absolutely did not. And so I'm starting this, I'm starting that, I'm trying nutrition, I'm trying this. I'm trying a lot of things, and nothing is working. I did find ice worked. If I could just get a big gallon baggie of ice and just put it on that area, the ice calmed things down where I actually got some relief. I could sit there for 30 minutes with an ice pack on and almost be normal. So I'd have one ice pack on my back, one on my front, and watch TV, relax, try to sleep. Anyway, ice work. Then what happens around the first week in July, Hurricane Beryl. We lost electricity for 7 days. My wife and I are out driving around trying to find a place that has electricity and has ice. And so we're loading up literally almost every day with ice because I'm using it that quickly. I found as a workaround, bourbon, half a bottle, maybe more, wine, a bottle, maybe 2, worked, but it just got me to the point where I could go to sleep. But I could not sleep literally more than an hour, 2 at most. And everything was just unbelievably burning, hurting, stabbing. I could not get comfortable. I found out that because everything was on my left side, the only thing I could really do was be to sleep on my right side, and then no blankets, nothing. So I could sit there and then just mentally try to tone down those intense areas. Okay, I fall asleep, and then ice pick goes right into and wake again. And so I'm asleep, and then I'm up for 3 or 4 hours. I fall asleep in a chair, I go back and lay down, and I may be laying down 11 o'clock in the morning because I've been up all night. And again, an hour, maybe 2 hours, and that's it. So for about 10 weeks, my sleep suffered. I was not a happy camper in many shapes or forms. Okay, basically 9 days after the last infestation, most of the blisters had gone away. This is a receding part of it. So this is round 2 going away. So between the middle of July and the middle of August, I had no relief whatsoever. Intense pain with regard to the unbearable itch that you couldn't itch, the burning that if you did touch something was there. And I'm talking about some really serious burning. You start and you stop because you can't stand the burn. The stabbing, whether it's needles or whether it's a big ice pick, even up to about 3 weeks ago, I'm laying in bed at night. I'm actually getting some decent sleep after the middle of August. And I'll tell you about that in a second. And all of a sudden, big ice pick stuck in my buttocks from my back or my thigh. And I'm in dead sleep and I'm awake again. Well, I've had 3 bouts of those in the first 2 weeks of October, and I have not had any now since the middle of October. So things are improving. Tried a lot of treatments. I mean, I can take a look at my area that I have all these different bottles and things. EFT, I looked at a lot of meditation. I did lots and lots and lots of stuff, alternative kind of things. Nothing worked. Lots of mind control stuff, trying to just relax. Brain fog became very excessive. I can easily see why somebody who's in a lot of pain would want to say, "Hey, it's up. I give up. I don't need to be in this world anymore." I can easily see that. Somebody has a chronic major pain issue. There's no relief. I didn't have those, but I can understand that. I keep dermatologists say, well, the good news is it's going to go away. The bad news is I don't know when. One of the guys that worked up at the church with us in a bazaar we had recently, about 3 weeks ago, he's had a post-traumatic neuralgia in his upper head, and every time that he takes a shower, it burns, itches, stabbing pains. That's 3 years. Most of the time it's dormant, but the minute he puts water on it, he goes crazy. Now I found out that typically for me, if I have a burn, mosquito bite, anything, not a burn, but I have an itch, that itch reaction generally works on cold and on hot. For me, hot seems to be the one, but I could put the ice on it and that would calm down that histamine reaction below the skin. So it would stop the itch. But I couldn't put hot water. I get in the shower and all of a sudden I get a little bit of warm water on that and it goes crazy. I had to not necessarily do cold water, but it had to be a cool to maybe warm. Otherwise, I could not take a shower because it just burned too much. Mentioned earlier on our trail, I wore very, very little clothing other than a smile. I didn't wear much at all around here, and I didn't smile very much either. So it was not a happy camper. So mid-August, they decided to try a new drug called Lyrica. It's not a new drug, but a new drug for me. And I tried it, and whoa, overnight, pain levels subsided immensely, literally 90% overnight. The first night I took it, I was able to go to sleep. Whoa, that was probably one of the best sleeps I've had in, I can't tell you how long. I couldn't sleep on my rash side, but I could sleep on my back if I didn't move too much, or I could sleep on my right side. And it was good. But Lyrica, I have high blood pressure anyway, and I'm taking some pills for it. I'm controlling it with the pills. But all of a sudden, my blood pressure's 230 over 150, way too high. So the Lyrica, after a while, it took me probably 2 weeks to figure this out, what was causing it. My cardiologist, I was sending them blood pressure readings almost not every day, but once a week. And they're saying, okay, double up on this, do that, do that. And so finally, I did some research on Lyrica. It's hard to find just doing generic research, but I did find something in there that says Lyrica can cause blood pressure issues. So I talked to my pharmacist, and he said right away, he said, yeah, Lyrica does increase blood pressure. That was, okay, so I got off of Lyrica, but like anything else, it's in your system, and it's a 2 week, 3 week getting rid of it out of your body. So it took a while for me to actually get that drug out, to get some level of clarity in my brain. And it was insidious to a degree because I kept thinking, oh, well, I feel pretty good today. I can think, but I couldn't think of the words I wanted to use. I couldn't, things that were just so common to me. I couldn't. Okay. The next day I'm feeling, hey, I'm much better. My clarity's coming back, but it was just incremental, little bitty things. You think you're better, but you're not. So in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm definitely better than I was, but I'm not quite there. But with the only thing I went and saw my dermatologist came back and we looked at, well, what about lidocaine? Lidocaine is that stuff they put in, like Novocaine, they put in there to numb things down. Well, I had some lidocaine ointment, lotion, ball, roll on, and it did a job. It took maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes to kind of tamp down the intensity. It was a little messy, but it allowed me some level of control. So the lidocaine actually worked. I eventually saw a pain specialist, and he had options from nerve blocks to this and that. And I told him I didn't want any pain medicine. He said, I can give you a prescription lidocaine patch, which he did, and just a little bit more lidocaine than what you can buy over the counter, which is about 5%. And so I started wearing these patches, and I think the box has 30 of them in there. He gave me a free sample. And that does have some level of control. You wear the patch for about 12 hours, take it off, and it's supposed to be in transdermal into the skin for about 24 hours total. So that had some level of pain relief. And what I'm seeing now, literally last night, I've been in pretty good shape here for a while. Last night, my thigh was just screaming at me. And I would itch it. I could actually scratch it with a fingernail, but it wasn't accomplishing anything. And so I went and got a patch, put it on there, boom, 5 minutes, I'm a happy camper. Woke up this morning, took the patch off, and it wasn't even an hour, and I had to put another patch on. So sometimes these things are just crazy. But by mid-September, my pain started to low. I was able to sleep. I was getting stabbing pain still at night, not every night, but just about every night. They wake me up. Didn't have to go out and watch TV for 3 hours, but I could really and truly just kind of calm that area down a little bit and then be under control. Get back to sleep in 20, 30 minutes. I tried CBD, I tried mushrooms, I tried all sorts of stuff. None of it worked. It really did not work. There was a CBD salve that actually had some level of promise, but it didn't have the duration, it didn't have the level of intensity reduction. Again, between minimizing my movement and between the ice and the booze, I started getting better. So mid-September, I started seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Looking at mid-October, now I'm at that point in time where I'm getting very little pain. It comes on randomly. It's not as intense. And I think I'm almost near normal. Major problem with the pool. It hasn't done. I'm in Houston, Texas, 90, 100 degrees almost daily. Pool just got totally out of control. And I was unable to do anything about it. Try to brush down the pool. My endurance was worthless. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm out of breath, couldn't do anything. So paid somebody to come in, do a lot of stuff. I took over after that. It took me literally almost a month to get the pool crystal clear again. And as things would have it, as soon as everything's crystal clear, the pool pump decides to quit. So I've been having problems putting a new one in. Not part of the shingles, but part of your life is just on hold. I'm still functional. I'm actually spending more time in the office than I did before, but not near the amount of time I used to spend. I'm finding my brain, I can actually do some research. I can look at things, but I'm not getting, I think I'm 100%, but in reality, I may be at 85% and thinking I'm at 100% because I'm still seeing some improvement. I can get in the shower and put pretty hot water all over that area. I mean, these rashes have been gone now since probably end of July. There's nothing there on the skin, but you can see underneath where the rash used to be. There's it's a blemish under the skin. In some places, I actually have some ripples that come up to the skin. You can actually feel where the rash used to be. But I can put hot water on them and not go into tears because, in fact, seriously, quite a few times I was in tears because I just could not stand it. It's just unbelievable. But anyway, I was able mid-October to start using hot water again. Lovely. But it really didn't last long. I get out of the shower, towel off, and okay, what I expected was half hour or more, just like with the ice. I expected a little bit of time that the itching would kind of recede. It didn't, but it felt good. So November, it's where we're at right now. It's what's the 7th of November. The rashes are gone, but there's still some underlying stuff in the skin. You can actually see where things used to be. I still have the post-traumatic neuralgia. It's there. It's about 10% of what it used to be. It's manageable. If I had to go another 6 months, every day I'm seeing improvement. Every week, I should say, not every day. Every week I'm seeing improvement. So I'm assuming that over the next several months, I'm going to see less and less and less of that neuralgic response. I can scratch it. That's a great improvement. I can use my fingernails, get in there and make things feel better. Sometimes just a simple scratch. Well, that feels so good, and it goes away. As I mentioned earlier, I've had no stabbing wake-ups in the middle of the night now for at least 3 weeks. My clothing optional days are gone. I can now wear clothing around the house. It's not a pretty picture, not necessarily a pretty picture of me without clothes on. No, it's probably not either. But the thing is, let's say if we had kids here in the house or something like that, that's not the way you need to be. You can't just go hide someplace. So if you're alone with your wife, that's fine. But if you don't have that option, that can be a really nasty situation. I'm going to try to do individual single shows rather than combinations of several weeks. So that's my plan. I'm thinking next week, what would I do if I found out I had cancer today? I'm thinking about doing that one. But I'm at red.olaughlin.com. It's REDOLAUGHLIN.com. Red at red.olaughlin.com or red.olaughlin@gmail.com. So with that, I'm getting ready to end the show. Catch you all next week on the Corner Bookstore on Thursday, then The Wise Ones, and then Talking Heads. Take care, y'all. Bye now.
5 Little Known Secrets for Dementia Caregivers with Tracy Cram Perkins.
Hi there. I am Tracy Cram Perkins, the host of the Dementia Home Care Show here on USA Global TV and Radio. I am also the author of the book of the same name. And you'll see this QR code. This is for an extended version of the same talk. So if you want to see the full hour-long version, feel free to scan the code and go to that website. Stick with me. We'll talk about 5 little known secrets to make it a little easier to do dementia caregiving. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is a healthy aged brain, age 55 and above. The one you're seeing on the right is an Alzheimer's disease brain. It is in moderate disease. It is shrinking. It has holes in it. The memories that were in those holes no longer exist. When you're learning something, let's say in kindergarten, you learn how to tie your shoelace. Well, then by the time you're in 2nd grade, your brain remembers that information from tying the shoelace and applies it so you can learn more quickly how to tie more complex knots. So the brain is hardwired to do this for us. So it helps us learn faster so it doesn't take us long to acquire knowledge. The brain is looking for the information and they pick the closest to wherever that hole is. Let's look at some tips that we can use to help do that.
These are 5 simple tools you can use as a dementia caregiver to help your loved one. The whiteboard is a useful tool in recording the day's activities and the answers to repetitive questions. The calendar clock is a very useful tool to orient your loved one on the day, the date, and the time, and remind them of upcoming appointments. The communication cards are a great tool to bridge the gap when they can no longer tell you what's wrong. And then there's the pill minder for when your loved one is still able to take pills but needs prompting. The final tool I want to share with you is the memory book. It tells your loved one's story. It's a great tool for distraction, redirection, also as a conversation starter, and telling you where they are in their story so you know how to answer their questions.
Music is probably the most powerful tool in your toolbox after laughter. Music is a way to maintain connection. It sticks with your brain longer than any other thing, including reading. When you're having an issue with somebody, you can play their favorite music if you move them to another room, something that makes them happy, or you can start singing songs together from their childhood. These are some of my favorite books for caregivers. My show airs on the 3rd Tuesday of every month, and you can view past episodes on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
This program has been brought to you in part by Tracy Cram Perkins. Connect with her and order her book at tracycramperkins.com. For more information about Alzheimer's disease, support resources, and how you can help, contact the Alzheimer's Association at 1-800-272-3900 or visit their website at www.alz.org. They offer 24/7 helpline support and a wealth of information to assist you and your loved ones.